Welcome back, Awakening Beauties. Hello everybody, if this is your first time joining me, I welcome you. Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm doing this a little different. Every video I feel like I'm doing a little different. I'm on my back porch and I'm just thinking a lot about my trips to the Peruvian jungle, which I did 2 years in a row, last summer and the summer before. And I'm out here with Zoe. She might make an appearance. Oh yeah, she probably, you wanna get up here? You wanna get up here? Yeah, she always likes to be in amongst whatever is going on. But anyways, I wanted to make a video because this is something I've been thinking about, and I was reading over my journals that I kept when I was in the jungle and what I learned from that. And in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, I went on a 2-week, what they call like a dieta, where you're really eating very simple foods. You just have like a little river fish and some rice or quinoa and unsweetened plantain, and you're drinking local teas made from local plants that are very healing to whatever you're trying to heal, whether it's a physical thing, an emotional thing. And there's no electricity, there's no cell service, there's no running water other than the river where you have to get your water to clean yourself in. And it's very stripped down. You're sleeping basically outside. You're in what's called a tambo, where you just have a small bed with a mosquito net, a little hammock, you have a table with a chair, and it's very stripped down. And what I learned on those trips, I mean, I will carry you with me for a lifetime. I hope one day I can return. I'm not returning this year, it doesn't look like, but I wanted to share what I learned from the jungle. The number one lesson, I think, from everything that I learned was that help always shows up when you need it. A friend will always show up when you need a friend. In the regards to help, there were so many things that happened where it was like the moment I needed something, I got the help for it. Just simple things. Like I had hurt my hip. I had sprained my ankle a few weeks before I went to the jungle, and it was better, but I was really favoring that foot. So I was using my left leg primarily for climbing up these really steep hills and everything and navigating. It had rained, so it was very slippery, and I fell a couple of times. And all of those different things attributed to my hip going out, and I could barely walk. It was miserable. It was so painful. Some of the worst pain I've ever been in. And so the things that showed up to help me out in those moments was like, if you're just living your everyday life and you're going to work and you're paying the bills, you tend to miss all of the things that show up to help you unless you are aware, unless you're present, unless you have a daily practice of gratitude. So just simple things like I even wrote it in my journal. I'm like, I really need a good walking stick. And that day, literally, a friend in the jungle said, "Here, take my walking stick." And she had picked the most elegant, sturdy walking stick. And I was just like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. I needed help getting water into my bucket, because what they'll do is the helpers will bring you these leaves. You're not using any hygiene products while you're there. You're really cleansed. You're not wearing makeup. You're not washing your hair with soaps and everything like that. But these leaves, when they soak in water, you wash yourself with these leaves, and it releases a liquid from the leaves. It sort of smells a little bit like garlic, but it's really refreshing. But I couldn't get down to the river because it was just very steep and it was slippery still, and I couldn't navigate that. I couldn't get down there. And so the same person that gave me a walking stick, she went down and she got me water a couple of times for my bucket so that I could clean myself. And I was so grateful. I mean, it just like showed up just like that. there was a night where a group of us had gathered into another building, and when we were leaving at night, one of the people had already left. A bunch of people had already left, but my friend Brian had left before us, and he was much further out where his tombo was. And so it was like 15 to 20 minutes later that me and my friend Barbara left, and we were going back to our tombos. And I was just, I was like, I can't walk. I couldn't put any pressure on that leg every step I took. And it was dark, and although we had headlamps and things, I was just like, I started like tearing up, and I said, Barbara, I can't walk. And the next thing I know, Brian swoops in and takes me under the arm. He says, here, I'll help you. And we were laughing so hard because he had left before us, like 15 to 20 minutes before us. And he said, yeah, I took a wrong turn, and I ended up back here. He goes, and then I headed out again, and I took another wrong turn, and I ended up back here. And then I headed out again, and then I saw you guys. And I was just like, well, there it was. The moment I asked for help, when I said, I need help, help was literally there at that moment. So that was a good lesson too, that we have to ask for help. Oftentimes, I know myself, I'm sort of like this, or I used to be, and I talked about this in other videos, a perfectionist and a very independent person. And I can stand on my own 2 feet. Literally, I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet when I was in the jungle for those first few days. But I was like, as soon as I acknowledged that I needed help and I asked for help, help always showed up. It was incredible. It was just like there was no distance in time and space from when I asked for something from when it showed up. I mean, it was, the ultimate manifesting. But we have to ask for what we want. That's a big lesson in life. You got to ask for what you want. Otherwise, you probably won't get it. Another instance of help showing up when I needed it is my friend Barbara is actually a massage therapist. So what a blessing to have her there. And she worked on me. And she said, she shared with me that the left side of the body is the yin side, the right is the yang, so the yin is the feminine side. And so she explained to me how a lot of trauma that we receive, female trauma from women in our lives, that will display in issues on the left side of the body. And as she worked on me, I had an incredible release of memories flooded through of things related to my female lineage. And I cried, and it was so beautiful that she and other people who were standing around my tombo as I was getting this massage, and we were talking, that they just held such beautiful space for me and with reverence to allow me to process my grief and things. And it was amazing because I felt myself start to heal my body in that moment. And every day after that, I just got better and better. And so that was a really unique, beautiful experience of letting go of something, actually physically healing my body in that moment. So along that same line, help shows up, but also a friend will always show up when you need a friend. And this can come in forms of not necessarily even human friends. Sometimes those are animal friends. I remember being a child having hamsters who didn't live very long lives, unfortunately, but I had one hamster in particular who was a true friend to me when I needed a friend the most. I had just recently moved to Florida. I had lived in Alabama up until I was almost 10 years old, and moving here was very tumultuous as far as trying to make new friends. And there was a lot of, girls at that age are very unkind and projecting all of their pain out onto everybody else. In other words, there are a lot of mean girls. So I was bullied and picked on quite a bit. And, I'd come home and cry, but then I had his name was Sweet Pea. I had little Sweet Pea, And he was my best friend during those times. And, and then other friends that have shown up that were animals are dogs. Dogs are great friends, and they love you unconditionally. And so we always have to remember that we are never alone. And, human friends too. There are so many times when you're thinking about someone and you're maybe going through something, and then all of a sudden they text you or they'll call you. So that's just such a beautiful lesson too, that we're never alone. Our ego makes us feel alone. It keeps us separate from everybody else. But if we just open up and realize that we are not alone, then we allow people to show up for us as well. Another lesson was that you need less than you think. When everything is stripped away and you just have you in your purest form, no makeup, no filters, and you realize that your needs are very, very small, actually, what you actually need. And that goes along with my no buy year, which I'm doing this year, that I am trying to strip away the consumerism and the wanting for something new and desiring of things, to acquire new things, and realizing, no, I need very little in this world. As far as material things, you don't need as much as you think you need. And speaking of material things, I know that this is sort of a beauty / fashion channel. I'm a fashion designer, and I love makeup, and I love all of that. I love fashion so much. But I really feel my most beautiful when I am in nature, like I was in Peru, where I am not wearing any makeup, and I am just 100% authentically me. And that's when, and I don't even know what I look like, because I had a little handheld mirror, but that was it, and I barely even looked at that. But I felt beautiful because I was so authentic to me. I was purely me, and experiencing my environment, experiencing my friends, and getting to know people in an open-hearted, healing way. And it was just, when I came back from that experience for a good year, and then I went a year later to the jungle, I barely wore makeup. Now I'm wearing more makeup than I was for a year and almost like a year and 4 months or something, that I wasn't wearing much makeup. And I realized that I didn't need all of that, and that I am beautiful just the way that I am. I don't have to be like anybody else. Another lesson that I learned is that I don't have to hold on to anyone else's pain. We have in our DNA generations of pain. And we don't even know sometimes that the things that we're experiencing are that we're healing pain from past generations. And I realized, that even the pain that you see in the world, when you see things that are seemingly terrible that happen, and, they get you upset, and you may start fighting for a cause because of it. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I can separate me from someone else's pain. I don't have to hold on to that pain. I can let that go. Someone else's pain is not my pain. Another lesson I learned is that my tribe will find me. It's sometimes very challenging to go through different phases of your life. I've certainly been through a lot in my life. I was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's a very insular organization, religion, where, somebody's honking out there. So when I left, I lost that tribe. And I've built other tribes, and some of them have fallen away too. And I don't have to be accepted by everyone. That was a big lesson. I don't have to be accepted by everyone. Not everybody has to like me. I just have to be authentically me, and my tribe will show up. And boy, has that happened over the past couple of years. I've found, I have several tribes in my life. I have my Dr. Joe community of people, and I have my improv people, and you go through different phases in your life, and people, will come in and out. Tribes will come in and out at times, but when you're being authentically you, the right people will show up. The right tribe will show up in your life, and that's an important lesson, that you're not alone. You're alone if you isolate yourself, but that's your choice. If you choose not to isolate yourself and to be open to whoever is meant to come into your life and to allow that to come in, then you will I've experienced the most amazing opportunities and been surrounded by the most interesting people just by being open. And you got to put yourself out there sometimes too. You got to show up to that improv class. You've got to show up to that water ceremony. I was talking about water ceremony in my last video. That's the point too. You do have to show up. It's not going to come to you all the time. Sometimes it will, but most of the time you've got to show up. You've got to put yourself out there. Another lesson, it was to see the beauty in everything, even the painful things. How many times have your most painful experiences become your greatest blessing? I know for me, that has been the ultimate truth of my life. But seeing the beauty in even the bad things that happen, or what we call bad, that so many things show up in our life that we may not understand in the moment, but when we can look back, hindsight is 20/20, and we can see that thing that happened led us to make a decision to do something else, whether it's to move somewhere else, to change jobs, to shift our perception in a way that led us to being open to following a path where now we're doing something completely different that we love and that fills us up. And as hard as this is, and it's hard to verbalize, and I know that there are a lot of people that would probably push back against this idea, but that even the crazy things that we see happening in the world, and we see some horrible things, I'm not like, I don't have rose-colored glasses on. I know things that are going on in the world, but even that can serve a beautiful purpose, simply by us acknowledging that there is evil, that we don't have to consent to it, but that by us knowing about it and by choosing to send love instead of hate, that we are playing a part in healing this world. And that is beautiful. And a final lesson, although there's probably more than I've even covered in this video, is, as the Beatles said, all you need is love. It's all that matters. It's all that matters. When you are on your deathbed, are you going to be thinking about that person that cut you off in traffic? So he just hit the table. Are you going to be worried about that? Are you going to be worried about, that teacher that didn't acknowledge your hard work, or that boss that didn't acknowledge your hard work? Are you going to be worried about, oh, my mother didn't love me enough? No, I can guarantee you, that that's not the things that you're thinking about at the end of your life. So I've put into practice over the past 10 years, I would say, where when I'm upset about something, I can let myself be upset. But I do always ask myself, is this going to matter a year from now? Is this going to matter 20 years from now? Is this going to matter when I'm on my deathbed? Is it even going to matter in a week? And just gaining that perspective helps me to let go of things that happen that upset me. And, you know, it's like I'm collapsing the time between being upset to finding my joy again by thinking that way. So love is all that matters. Don't shut down your heart. Other people deserve your heart. Other people deserve your gifts. Be the light. That was another message. Be the light. Shine your light. You have so many gifts. Don't hold back. Don't hold back from telling people that you love them. It may be the last chance you get. And allow yourself to be a light to other people. In a world that's very dark, you can illuminate. And you can be a force for change, for good. If not only for yourself, but maybe for a lot of people around you. So choose joy. I always say that. I always say that to people. Choose joy. It's a choice. Choose it. And if things aren't going great in your life, choose joy. It may just shift something, and it may bring to you the very thing that you didn't even know that you needed to heal. But someone knows you need to heal. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. I wish all of you were able to go to the jungle and experience what I experienced. And maybe some of you have, and maybe some of you will. And even if you don't get to, you can do this in your own life. And let me just share with you, this takes disconnecting from all of the noise in your life. And taking the time, whether it's just taking a few minutes to meditate in the morning, but thank you, you're watching my video, and I'm grateful for that, and I hope that this is uplifting to you. But turn off YouTube, turn off the TV, turn off all the podcasts, get quiet for yourself. I spent so much time in the past few days just being really quiet. I was off from work for a couple of days, and then I was not feeling well on Friday, and I ended up taking the day off as a sick day. And I just took that time to get so quiet with myself. And when I got quiet, I started really hearing the music, the songs that were coming to me. And I've written a couple of songs this week. And so, you know, you can't hear the messages that you're supposed to receive that are being sent to you on a moment by moment basis. We can't hear those messages unless we get quiet. So allow yourself the time. You deserve it. You deserve the time to quiet your mind, to quiet the world around you. You deserve it. And if you're not giving yourself that time, I hope you will, because it's so important. We get so distracted from our purpose, from our own light, from what's important to us. You've got to get quiet. That's my recommendation for this week. Get quiet after you finish this video. Shut it off. But I thank you for watching, and I appreciate you. And all my new subscribers, wow, I'm really happy to have you. And thank you so much. So until next time, you're doing great.